When people panic buy, they all rush for the same obvious stuff and empty the same shelves. I do the opposite. I go for the foods almost nobody talks about because they're usually still available, they store well, and they actually make a beginner stockpile work in real life. In this video, I'm breaking down 12 of those foods, where you usually find them, why they're useful, and how to use them without overcomplicating anything. Number 1. White rice bags. When shelves get picked clean, the first thing that disappears is the normal stuff in the middle aisles. Small boxes of rice, quick pasta, instant meals. The quiet move is to buy plain white rice in the biggest bag you can reasonably carry, because the big bags often sit untouched in international stores, and the price per pound is usually better. White rice stores far better than brown rice, because brown rice still has its natural oils, and those oils eventually go stale. For a beginner pantry, think in simple math. Rice is cheap calories that don't demand refrigeration, and it pairs with almost anything. If you're choosing a type, long grain is the easiest, because it stays fluffy and doesn't turn into glue, and basmati or jasmine can make the same basic meal feel like something you'd cook on purpose. Storage is the real trick. Keep it cool, dry, and sealed. For long-term storage, people repackage rice into thick mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, then put those bags into food-grade buckets to block light and pests. For simpler, deep pantry storage, tight containers plus a cool closet work fine as long as you rotate it. Label your containers with dates and keep new in the back, old in the front, so rotation happens naturally. A beginner-friendly pest move is freezing a new bag for a couple days before storing it, which can stop pantry bugs from getting started. If you ever open a new bag and notice a weird smell, that's your cue to toss it. Fresh rice should smell neutral.
Cooking-wise, rice is flexible. Boil it, steam it, cook it like porridge when you're short on other ingredients, or fry leftovers the next day. If you're watching fuel, soaking rice for 20 to 30 minutes before cooking can cut cook time, and bringing it to a boil then letting it sit covered finishes it with less heat. Number 2. Red lentils. Once you've got calories covered, the next beginner problem is protein that doesn't take forever to cook. Red lentils solve that in a way most people ignore. Unlike many beans, they don't need soaking, and they turn tender fast, usually in 10 to 20 minutes depending on your pot and heat. That means less water, less fuel, and fewer planning steps. They also break down into a thick, stew-like texture, so you can stretch a small amount into something that feels like a full meal. In terms of storage, dry lentils are easy. Keep them sealed and dry, and they'll sit for years. The main thing that changes over time is cooking speed. Very old lentils can take longer, so rotation keeps them convenient. For everyday use, red lentils shine in simple soups, quick curries, or as a thickener for canned tomato products. If you want them to feel more complete, cook them with rice or stir in a spoon of cooking fat at the end so they taste richer. They're also forgiving with seasoning. If all you have is salt, they're still edible. If you have a flavor booster like bouillon, dried onion, curry powder, or a spoon of sauce, they get good fast. For family prepping, this matters because edible is not the same as people will actually eat it.
Number 3. Buckwheat groats. Variety is what keeps a pantry useful, and buckwheat is one of the best "why is this still here" foods in a shortage. It isn't wheat, even though the name sounds like it. It's a seed, so it works for people avoiding gluten. In many places, it's sold as kasha, often in the international aisle or Eastern European markets. The taste is nutty, and it feels more filling than plain rice, which helps when you're trying to make simple food feel satisfying. It cooks quickly too, often around 15 minutes, especially if it's toasted. If you buy raw buckwheat, a quick dry toast in a pan deepens the flavor and helps it hold its shape. You can cook it like rice, or make it softer like breakfast porridge with water or shelf-stable milk. It also holds texture well, so it's great in soups where rice can turn mushy. For storage, it behaves like other dry grains. Keep it sealed, keep it dry, keep bugs out. If you want it to taste fresh, rotate it like you rotate rice. Use one bag, store one bag. The bigger point is practical. When you can switch between rice, lentils, and buckwheat, you're less likely to burn out on your own stockpile. Number 4. Masa harina. If you want a pantry that can turn into actual meals, not just bowls of mush, you need a fast bread option. Masa harina is one of the most useful, and it's usually sitting in Latin grocery stores when the regular flour section is wrecked. It's corn flour that's been treated with lime, meaning calcium hydroxide, in a process called nixtamalization. The simple version is that treatment makes corn nutrients easier to access, and it also changes the texture so it forms dough instead of gritty batter. This is also why masa harina isn't the same as plain cornmeal. Cornmeal won't turn into tortilla dough no matter how much you fight it. With just masa harina, water, and salt, you can make tortillas or flatbreads on a pan. No yeast, no oven, no long rise time.
That's huge when power is unreliable or you're trying to save fuel.
Storage-wise, it's dry, but it can pick up moisture and odors, so keep it sealed. For long-term storage, people repackage it like other grains, then rotate. For everyday use, it's easy. Quick tortillas, thickening soups, or making simple dumplings in broth. It also plays well with canned fish, lentils, and spicy sauces, which helps you turn pantry ingredients into meals that don't feel like punishment. Number 5. Textured vegetable protein. Protein is where many beginner stockpiles fall apart, because meat is expensive, heavy, and usually needs refrigeration. Textured vegetable protein, often called TVP, is one of the cheapest shelf-stable protein options that still cooks like real food. It's basically dehydrated soy protein that rehydrates into a ground meat texture. You might see it labeled as soy granules, soy mince, or meatless crumbles. It's the same idea in different sizes, and smaller pieces rehydrate faster. The key is to flavor it. If you soak it in plain water, it tastes like nothing. If you soak it in broth, tomato sauce, or seasoned water, it becomes a great filler for chili, tacos, pasta sauce, and rice bowls. It stores well when kept dry and sealed, and it takes very little space compared to canned meat. A simple approach is to keep it in a jar with a tight lid and only open it when your hands are dry so you don't introduce moisture. When you rehydrate it, squeeze out the extra liquid and then cook it briefly with spices. That last step is what makes it taste done instead of soggy. The beginner rule here is simple. Buy a small amount and test it now. Some people don't do well with soy, and you don't want your first try to be during a stressful week. If it works for you, TVP is also nice because it stretches expensive foods. Mix a little with ground meat, and the same recipe feeds more people.
Number 6. Oily canned fish.
A lot of people stock tuna and call it a day. But the smarter move is oily fish like sardines, mackerel, and salmon. They bring protein and fat together, which matters because many pantry staples are mostly carbs. The fat helps with fullness and longer-lasting energy, and it also makes food taste better when everything else is bland. Sardines are especially useful because the soft bones are edible, which adds calcium you won't get from rice and beans. Look for cans packed in olive oil or water, depending on your needs, and think about convenience. Pull-tab lids matter when you don't want to hunt for a can opener. Storage is easy. Keep them cool, rotate them, and check cans the normal way. No bulging, no deep dents, no leaking. If you're new to them, start with flavored versions like tomato sauce, mustard, or chili, then step back to plain. And don't waste the oil in the can. That's extra calories and cooking fat you can stir into rice or lentils. If smell is the barrier, eat it cold with crackers or tortillas first, then use it in hot meals once you're used to it. Number 7. Canned ghee. Fat is the missing piece in a lot of emergency food plans. People store mountains of rice and beans, then wonder why they feel drained, cold, and hungry all the time. You don't need luxury ingredients, but you do need some kind of stable cooking fat. Store-bought ghee, clarified butter in sealed jars or tins, is one of the easiest options. Because the milk solids are removed, it's more stable than regular butter, and many brands are shelf-stable when unopened. It's also high-calorie, and calories are the basic currency of energy. Ghee makes simple foods taste richer, and it helps you cook without scorching things as easily. It's great for frying tortillas, sautéing lentils with spices, or turning plain rice into something you actually look forward to. The main beginner mistake is thinking homemade and store-bought are the same for shelf life.
Homemade can be great, but if any moisture or milk solids are left, it can spoil faster. If you want long shelf stability without guessing, sealed commercial ghee is the safer bet, and you can rotate it like any other pantry fat. If you can't find ghee, shelf-stable shortening or canned butter products can fill the same reliable fat role, but ghee is usually easier to cook with. Number 8. Coconut oil. If ghee isn't your thing, coconut oil is another pantry fat that holds up well because it's mostly saturated fat, which is more stable than many liquid oils. It's solid at cooler room temperatures, which makes it easy to portion, and it works in both savory and sweet cooking. It can handle heat for basic pan cooking, and it adds calories fast when your meals are mostly grains. Storage is straightforward. Keep it in a closed container, away from heat and light, and don't let water get into it. The real reason it makes this list is availability. In a buying rush, people grab the familiar bottles first, and coconut oil is often still sitting there because shoppers don't know what to do with it. In a practical pantry, it can cover cooking, baking, and quick fat plus carbs meals like rice with a spoon of oil and salt when you need calories without a lot of ingredients. If you don't love the coconut smell, look for refined coconut oil. It's more neutral. If you're watching budget, compare cost per ounce, not the sticker price, because big tubs usually win. Number 9. Dried seaweed. Most emergency food lists forget micronutrients until people start feeling off. Dried seaweed is a low-cost way to add minerals, especially iodine, without needing fresh produce. You'll see it as nori sheets, wakame, dulse, or kelp. The prepper advantage is simple. It's light, compact, and it lasts a long time when kept bone dry. Moisture is the enemy, so store it in airtight packaging and keep it away from steam and humidity. A small packet of food-safe desiccant can help if you live somewhere damp. Use it in tiny amounts. Crumble a sheet into rice, add strips to soup, or soak wakame for a quick salad-style side. It adds a savory flavor that makes plain staples feel more like real food. If you want an even easier option, some stores sell seaweed seasoning mixes you can shake onto rice, and that's basically instant variety in a jar. One caution, seaweed is strong stuff, so more isn't always better. Small amounts, rotated through normal meals, is the smart way to use it. Number 10. Fish sauce. Flavor is not a luxury in a stressful week. When meals are repetitive, people stop eating enough, and that's when energy and mood crash. Fish sauce is one of the best one-drop-fixes-everything items, and it's usually untouched during a rush because a lot of shoppers don't recognize it. It's fermented, salty, and full of natural, savory compounds that make simple food taste deeper. A teaspoon in a pot of beans, lentils, rice, or soup can turn survival bland into, "I'd actually eat this." It also helps when you're sweating or active, because salt matters for hydration, especially if you're drinking a lot of water. The storage side is easy. Keep it sealed, keep it in a cool place, and it lasts a long time. One practical storage tip is to keep the bottle inside a small plastic bin or bag. If it tips over, the smell is going to live in your pantry for a while. The practical tip for cooking is to use it like a seasoning, not like a sauce you pour.
Start small, taste, and adjust. If fish sauce isn't your thing, soy sauce, tamari, or even powdered bouillon can cover the same salty plus savory role, but fish sauce is usually the one people leave behind. And once you have one strong flavor tool, the next step is adding a strong aroma tool.
Number 11. Sun-dried mushrooms. Dried mushrooms are another overlooked upgrade that makes a pantry feel like a kitchen. Shiitake, porcini, wood ear, and mixed blends all store well when kept dry, and a small handful can change an entire pot of food. They bring umami, a meaty savoriness, without needing meat. If the label says sun-dried, you get a bonus. Mushrooms can build vitamin D when exposed to sunlight. They're also a smart way to create broth. Soak them in warm water, then use that soaking liquid as a base for rice, lentils, or TVP. Nothing gets wasted, and you get more flavor out of the same ingredients. Another simple move is to grind a few dried mushrooms into powder and keep it in a spice jar. A pinch works like an instant soup base. Storage is the same rule as seaweed: airtight, dry, and protected from moisture. Keep them away from the stove area so steam doesn't sneak in. For rotation, just treat them like a seasoning you actually use. Add them to soups, stir-fries, noodles, or rice dishes. Number 12. Piloncillo sugar. People think prepping is only about calories and macros, but quick energy and comfort foods have a real place in a practical pantry. Piloncillo, also sold as panela, is unrefined cane sugar often shaped into cones or blocks, and it tends to sit quietly in Latin markets during a buying rush. Sugar stores essentially forever if you keep it dry, and piloncillo is easy to portion by shaving or breaking off small pieces. It dissolves into hot water for a quick, sweet drink. It turns into simple syrup for oatmeal or pancakes, and it balances salty or spicy foods when you're cooking beans, chilies, or sauces. It's also useful for baking if you don't have white sugar. The key is storage. Keep it sealed so it doesn't absorb humidity and harden into a rock. In a pinch, even a hard block is still usable. You can grate it or simmer it to dissolve.
If you want a second sweet option that's just as stable, plain honey is hard to beat. And keeping both means you're not relying on one item for that small boost that makes pantry food easier to eat day after day. You don't need a lot, just enough to keep meals flexible and keep the pantry feeling normal. It also works in coffee or tea when you just need something warm that doesn't feel like a ration.